I believe that the world is a good place. Despite all that is happening around us and the negative things that we might be seeing all the time, I genuinely believe that the world is a good place. But it's amazing, especially since this pandemic started, just how many people want to remind me how bad the world is, that these are the end times, and that Jesus is going to come any time to clean up all of this mess. Sometimes I get a little weighed down with that. In all times and in all generations there have been issues that people have dealt with. And I guess if we choose to watch CNN, and if we choose to watch Fox and other media outlets, and if we choose perhaps on the weekend to listen to someone say on a Sunday morning, remind us of how big sinners we are and of how evil the world is, then if we see the world through that lens, then yes, I guess it's probably a pretty bad place. But I believe that Jesus is Lord, and while there are those who choose to perhaps step away from the world and look into the skies for his imminent return, that I believe this great God is found hiding in places that we think he's long since abandoned. And that's in those places, it's in those places that I choose to look for him. And I believe this great God of the universe, that he's empowered us with his Spirit. This great God of miracles, this great God who can open the eyes of the blind, this great God who can raise the dead, this great God who can take a few morsels of food and he can feed thousands. He's empowered us with his Spirit. He's empowered us with his Spirit to overturn the tables of injustice and oppression. And it's through that Spirit that he invites us to see the revelation of God's kingdom. The kingdom is being revealed in our midst if we would open our eyes and be able to join the Spirit in his work. But seeing the kingdom of God being revealed in our midst, sometimes that's a little challenging. And we have trouble seeing it, and we have trouble entering it. But Jesus has a formula for us, of being able to see the kingdom in our midst. Jesus says, well, you got to become like little children. And in a couple days' time, all kinds of young people are going to be entering to the doors of the school behind me, and they're going to be bringing their wildest imaginations. Anything is possible with them. They're going to be scientists, they're going to be environmentalists, they're going to be engineers, they're going to be great athletes, and they're going to be concert pianists and everything else. Anything is possible with them, and they don't see the world as being a bad place, but somehow there are all kinds of possibilities that go with it. And I think sometimes that we need to remind ourselves of something. Like Pastor Carlos Rodriguez, who I follow on Twitter. Carlos Rodriguez says, sometimes in order to see Jesus, that we got to walk away from the temple. And we got to move into places where he reveals himself in unrecognizable ways to us. And sometimes that takes sort of a second look. Trudy and I were visiting or at a downtown McDonald's restaurant in Toronto a number of years ago, and it was a hot, humid night as we were sitting there. And at some point during the evening, I noticed an elderly woman coming through the door, and she had on several layers of clothing, all piled on, and she was dragging behind her one of those plastic milk crates, and it seemed like she had all of her earthly possessions in that. To me, she was a street person, and she walked past us towards the back to the washroom area. It wasn't long after that a young man came tearing through the door, and he went from table to table panhandling, looking for money, and like everyone else, I brushed him off. And he too went to the back. And it wasn't long I noticed that he was chatting to this elderly woman. And in a few moments, I saw her reached to a little tattered pocket in her sweater, and she pulled out one coin, and she placed it in his hand. To this day I can see her face. To this day, without a doubt, I knew that I was in the presence of Jesus, and he revealed himself to me there, and it was absolutely wonderful. I wasn't expecting it. It was in an unrecognized way. But I knew that I was in the presence of the kingdom of God. The kingdom is being revealed all around us, folks. The kingdom is being revealed. It's in our midst. And I'm so thankful that I got some spiritual guides today, or sort of helping me with that. I got someone who's teaching me to see Jesus in places of rock music. A band called Dawes and The Call from years ago. And he's helping me see Jesus in those places, and it's wonderful. And I got another spiritual guide who's standing with me this morning. And he has a passion for helping people who see Jesus in places where they struggle with religion and they struggle with church and all of those the language that goes with that. And he's seen Jesus in those places, and he's helping me see Jesus in those places as well. And I'm so thankful for that. You know, the kingdom is being revealed in our midst. Jesus is in our midst all the time. And you know what? The world really is a good place because Jesus is being revealed in our midst. The world is a good place. And by the way, ask any kid, and she'll tell you that anyway. Be blessed and have a great week.